What's up, everyone? Welcome back on the channel, and to the channel members who will see this video first. Day before the game, it is match preview time. You know what time it is. Make sure you leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It is Inter versus Lazio. I think traditionally we would count this as a big game, but because Lazio have not been doing so well, it's a little bit 50-50, but I count it as a big game. Lazio, to me, are still a big team. One of the seven sisters of Italy, and managed by Maurizio Sarri as well, who are still rate highly. 7:45 p.m. kickoff time for me tomorrow. Our recent head-to-head against them is actually surprisingly good. Of course, we remember them from last season, the 2-2 draw. That is the Scudetto defining game, really. The Pedro penalty, the Bisek handball. That's why we lost the Scudetto last season. So in that sense, Lazio have broken our hearts very recently. But when you look at the record in general, that was a draw, not a loss. It felt like a loss, but it was a draw. Then we beat them the time before at home in the Coppa Italia. Then we smashed them away 6-0 at their home. The season before at home, we drew and also won in the Super Cup. We won away, we won at home, and then we have to go back to 2022, the beginning of 2022-23 season, to find a loss against Lazio. So we have a good record, whether it's Sarri or Baroni. But I'm always quite wary against Lazio. I feel like they do come out and play their best football against us. That's what my feeling always is. And of course, in terms of Inter, we haven't performed well recently. Last couple of games, in the Champions League and the Hellas Verona game, but we got 2 wins anyway. We'll take a dirty win, an ugly win, but we need to make sure that it is a win, whatever it is, pretty ugly, because Milan are playing Parma. I'm expecting nothing from this Parma team. Juve are playing the Turin. Let me take out just to make sure I say it correctly. The Turin derby, which Torino pretty much never ever win. So I'm expecting nothing there. Who are Napoli playing? Actually, I don't actually see who Napoli are playing. I'm not thinking they're playing anyone particularly challenging. Let's have a look. Bologna, actually, yeah, there I can expect something. Bologna have been in good form, and Bologna are at home, 2 p.m. One of those weird time kickoffs. Maybe some dropped point from Napoli that we can expect. But yeah, Inter need to aim for 24 points after this match against Lazio. Before I get into all the predicted lineups and all that, I want to cover quickly some news that I haven't had a chance to talk to you guys about in this week. Some of them very predictable. For example, Davide Frattesi, that usual stick that the media like to beat us with. Oh, Frattesi wants to leave. Frattesi this and that. It's come around again. I think Gazzetta reported it. Here is translated by, it is Gazzetta, translated by sempreinter.com. So we know he pretty much missed pre-season because of his hernia problem where he had surgery. Then Sucic had his impressive rise, which has seen Frattesi slip down the pecking order. Gazzetta talking about his last match in the Champions League saw him swept up in the collective frenzy that frustrated Kivu and effectively cost him his best opportunity to impress so far, which I agree with. I was not impressed at all with Frattesi's impact in that game, and we're now into the 3rd season of Frattesi at Inter, which is not surprising. The situation has revived questions about his future. Inter rejected several inquiries in recent windows, including from Atletico Madrid, fielded interest from Roma, Napoli, and Juve last January. No offers came close to meeting Nerazzurri's valuation, reportedly 45 million for Roma and up to 70 million for the others. The stance reflected Inter's reluctance to sell to a Scudetto rival, particularly one managed by Conte. Yet, as another window approaches, the issue could resurface. Linked to that, the Italian media are also talking about Frattesi out and maybe Morten Friendrup in. Friendrup, we will link to him in the summer. He is a combative, ball-winning, tough tackling midfielder with not much technical ability, in my opinion, when I watch him. But he does provide something that this Inter midfield lacks in terms of last season. He was the midfielder with the most tackles won, most interceptions, first for dribble stop blocks, third this season. He ranks third for tackles and second for balls recovered. So you see what type of midfielder he is. I definitely don't think he is a CDM, like a regista CDM. If you play him as a CDM, he is just there to break up play, keep it simple, 2 or 3 meter passes, 5 meter passes, keep it simple, bro. You know, not comparing him, but kind of if you were watching Inter in the Banter era, Gary Medel vibe, that type of vibe. Gargano, I know he wasn't good for us, but he was good for Napoli. But guy that runs around like a madman, wins the ball back, gives it to Barella, Haka, and the other guys. You guys do the technical work. So in terms of profile, we talked about it in the summer. Yes, we need someone like Friendrup in there. Whether he's good enough for Inter, no, I don't think so. But it's something that we miss, and maybe it's something that if Frattesi leaves, could be looked at. But again, I don't want to really spend too much time looking into it. I think it will be something that once again will resurface in the coming weeks and months, because Frattesi has the World Cup to look forward to if Italy qualify, and Gattuso. I'm sure Gattuso will be looking at his playing time saying, bro, I know Spalletti really liked you. Spalletti was calling up Frattesi regardless. And he was even the top scorer under Spalletti, Frattesi, for some period at the international team. But yeah, with the World Cup coming up, I don't think he wants to miss that boat for sure if the playing time is looking not good. And we know last summer mainly more his entourage than Frattesi was kicking up a fuss to try and make force a move. I've always been, you guys let me know your opinion. I've always been the opinion that yes, I like Frattesi. We need a profile like Frattesi. He works hard. He's a grinta merchant. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, I love having him. The goal scoring is, that profile is amazing to have. Every team needs a Frattesi, but if he is worth, I'm not even going to say 45 million euros, but to me, if he is worth 30 million plus, I'll say that as a substitute. And now he's what, fifth, sixth choice midfielder. To me, that type of value on the bench, you sell and try to reinvest in someone. And you can find similar profiles to Frattesi. We've talked about it in the past. The Giovanni Fabians at Bologna, Casadei at Torino, just top of my head, young Italians as well. And both of them perform into youth products as well, so helps with the Champions League squads. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on that whole Frattesi situation. Quickly, some other news. Carlos Augusto, according to Pasquale Guarro, has been even tested on the right in training. I think we saw him brought on, was it Hellas Verona game or Fiorentina game, where he was brought on temporarily as a right wing back as well. I mean, this is a complete indictment on how bad Luis Enrique's transfer has been. The fact that he's even been tested out right on the right in training. But speaking on more positive terms about just Carlos Augusto, it looks like he will be starting contract talk soon, renewals, and that is very well deserved, very, very deserved for Carlos Augusto. Hopefully we get that wrapped up very, very soon. Now let's get back into the Lazio game. Lazio, there's some parallels to this Lazio team with Inter in terms of, if you ask their fans, I mean, imagine you being a fan of a team and the team changes. I mean, we complained this summer that we didn't do enough with Inter, that we kept pretty much the same starting 11 apart from Akanji. Lazio literally did that, but by force, because of the liquidity ratio and some other stuff off the pitch. They weren't able to even sign 0 players. They brought in no one, so they have the exact same, not starting 11, the exact same team as last season, apart from some loanees coming back. But I did expect them to be pretty just like solid, 7th, 8th. I think that was my prediction for Lazio, because it's Sarri. He was there before. Again, boring, bringing back the same coach. But he's made them solid defensively, just as we expected. Only 7 goals conceded. And as the article translated here on Sempre Inter, Sarri's defensive bunker faces ultimate test, because they've kept 4 clean sheets in the last 4 Serie A matches. And Provedel has improved his form. He's kept 360 minutes worth of clean sheets, but they have some issues in terms of injuries for the game against us. So I'm not expecting it to be an easy game. I feel like people are overlooking Lazio this season. They're still a tricky team to break down, especially recently. They've got their things in order, but I'm not expecting much from them the other way, attacking wise. Only 13 goals scored this season. So let's get into it. Let's see which match preview or formation prediction will be right. We've found out now this season that actually Sky Sport Italia are not the most reliable anymore. That used to be my go-to, so we can always have some of our input as well. So they are saying that Bisek is not starting. It will be a Cherby returning, who's had a, was it 2-3 matches benched, right? Cherby in a row, which is very, very rare if he's not injured. The other two are Kanji and Bastoni. Dumfries, of course. Barella, Hakan. Sucic continues, which is good. This is what I wanted to see in midfield. And, of course, Di Marco on the left. Thuram is going to be starting by the sounds of it, at least, complete the first half, maybe 50, 60 minutes, whatever he has in his legs, which is good news. Next to, of course, Lautaro. I like that team. But in my opinion, I would go with the prediction that Gazzetta has gone for, which is having Bisek at the back. I want to see Bisek continuing in that position. I think this is a very good test for Bisek because I don't think Lazio are going to be attacking too much. But when they do attack, I feel like there's going to be moments where, especially if they play with someone like Bulaidia, he will be roaming around. He will be dropping off him. I want to see how he handles that. Not necessarily a focal number 9 of sorts. He will drift around. So I want to see Bisek tested in that, and I want to see Bisek tested in a bigger game. This is not the biggest game we have, but I feel like this is definitely the biggest test yet that would be for Bisek. So I do want to see him tested out there so we can employ that high press that Kivu wants to do, especially when we have Sucic in midfield. So yeah, this is the lineup I would go for. You guys let me know in the comments down below any changes that you would personally change or would make. Would you start Augusto to kind of counteract Isaksen, who is their left-footed quick winger that can cut in and cause issues? Or would you start Zielinski, who has been in better form recently? Let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, Lazio's team, you can see, not impressive at all. The standout players, as we know, to keep our lookout for future as well for Inter, Mario Hila. He has been linked to Inter, and I like him a lot. I'm not sure if he's a centre back, but he's a very quick ball-playing centre back, Spanish, to keep a lookout for the future. That's it, really. We know the midfield is solid. All of these guys are hard runners, good tacklers, very well drilled tactically by Sarri. But not many goals in this midfield, apart from Tomo Basic, who started to pop up with a couple of goals and assists recently. The Croatian midfielder here, the threat really is these guys up front, mainly Zaccagni, Isaksen, if he pops up with one of his left foot curlers, and Dia on his day can be also be a big threat, but very, mediocre Lazio team compared to some Lazio teams we've seen over the last 5-6 years in Serie A. So in theory, this should be a win. I'm hoping to see, as I said, a solid win, a more convincing win compared to the last few, but I'll take whatever we can get. With Marcus Thuram returning into the starting lineup, I am predicting him to score. My score prediction will be a tough, another ugly maybe, 2-1 victory, same as Hellas Verona. I'm predicting, as I said, a goal from Marcus Thuram and maybe a goal from Lautaro Martinez, and for them, 1 goal from Zaccagni or Isaksen. That is my prediction. You let me know yours down below. I'll see you for the post-match reaction tomorrow. Ciao, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Forza Inter.